What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are back on the 73 satellite. In my last video, we went ahead and disassembled the entire interior, exposing a blank canvas, which there's no metal, there's no canvas, there's nothing, there's ankle vents everywhere. It's unfortunate. The car is 50 years old. It was expected. But today, we are going to dive into how to remove spot welds because we're about to cut this floor out. And I'm going to show you how just with a little bit of hand tools and some knowledge and patience, you can do this too. Stay tuned. Alright, so we've already started cutting spot welds. I went through, carefully cut the floor out where I can cut it, because, we have, these are for the seats. I still have to remove the spot welds on those two. We have spot welds all along the, I started here, but, yeah, I got about 100 spot welds to go through, hit them with a punch, and cut them with the bit. And then I'm using just a chisel and a cheap body hammer. This was like my rust checker around these frame rails and cross members. So yeah, we'll go through, start blowing some of these out. I'll do a couple and I'll show you how I'm doing it and how easy it is just with, basic hand tools. Let me take a sip of my coffee and I'll get in there, take a seat, and show you what I'm working with here. Alright, so here's a closer look. That was with a drill bit, that was with a drill bit, and that was with a drill bit. We went too far with our plug. Where's it at? This little guy right here. It's got a set screw. It's got like a center punch in it. You don't use it as a punch though. After you hit the area, you want to find center. Hit it with, I'm just using a machine punch. Give it a good smack, and that will ride in it, and it's spring tension. So I'm using WD-40. I mean literally spraying it, hitting it with the punch, then spraying it, and then I got my drill set to 1 low torque, because we don't want to spin this at maximum RPM and risk damaging this. But what's cool about this is it actually has 2 cutter heads. We're still on the first one, and I think I went through, I might have went through like 20 spot welds with it already, just a couple minutes. But yeah, I'm going to climb in here and get stabbed 100 times. Set that right there. Ow! Ugh. Yeah, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is in a tricky spot too. Of course they went every inch. America really knew how to build a vehicle. Ugh, yeah, that went right through. So, Yeah, you can see my punch marks now, pretty clear. Once I hit it with oil, it'll be a little difficult to see, but definitely recommend using any type of oil you have. Obviously, WD-40 is all we really got around here, but there's that spring tension I was talking about. You know, you can control the depth on this, which is great. Let me go ahead and zip these through. Alright, and then I take a center, or sorry, not a center, this, 1-inch chisel. Air hammer would be so beautiful right now. Obviously, we work with what we got. I'm usually wearing gloves. I did just eat. I'll eventually put some on. Don't want to hit your hand. Let me tell you, it hurts. Alright, so that's one. We got through that one. And, I just keep going. Keep on hammering away. Break through all of them. Sheared right through it. I mean, push come to shove, I'll slice it with the death wheel, and no one will ever know anyway. We will get this though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just leave that for now. I'm gonna take a quick little break, get repositioned, and we'll get that cut and start on that firewall. Alright, so I grabbed the grinder, I ran the wheel across the frame rail. We didn't hit it. I was going to cut it, and then when I started pulling on it, that's starting moving a lot. So we're going to get the chisel in there. Okay. Yeah, look at that. That looks nice. Maybe, yeah, I like that. Ooh. I'm trying to not hurt myself here, but we really want to get in here. Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna go find him.
Go find him.
No, it's gone.
You gotta go find him then.
You can find him in his store.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow?
Yes, go on. I don't want you to cut yourself.
Okay.
Go play. It's almost bedtime. We gotta eat.
Nope.
This is a 60 grit. I generally like to use 40 grit, but it was a gift by a subscriber that we talked about earlier in the video. So I'm gonna get in here, change my wheel out. We're getting low. We will use that until there's nothing left. Believe you me. Yeah. Alright, let's go through here. Show you guys how I do this. That might be the last spot weld, and then it looks like they just ran a bead along here, so maybe not. We'll know more. But yeah, you would hit it with that, get it prepped, and then you want to come over here to where you think the center, you know, just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I like to get a good grip on it and hold it, push with a lot of force, and give it one good smack. And that's going to leave our impression for our pilot to ride in, so we're not walking all over the panel. Light pressure, WD-40 is your friend. Now, because our floor pan goes underneath this, we can actually drill right through it. It won't even matter, because essentially we are going to spot weld right through the hole. We're going to fill the hole just like they did in the factory. So you can actually use just a drill bit if you really wanted to. We just want to get it separated for now, and then obviously we can use a drill bit, or if you have a pneumatic air punch, that is a pretty good tool to have. Alright, so if you center it right, you'll hear and you'll feel it separate from its panel. You can see there I have it separated. Actually, yeah, we got it separated there. Or no, we don't. Not yet. That's about to change. There it went. And then I get my chisel in here. Now this panel that we're cutting out, it extends out to here, and it's got like this factory fold. But just get our chisel in. I like to go around the holes, because, you know, you're not going to get it perfect every single time. So you'll want to use the chisel to bust through the remainder, if there is any, which most of the time there is. Yep, there it is. Yep. And then keep on going. I'm going to go ahead and do this off camera just because this process is... it's going to take a while. Cut on some music. I just ate supper. Get some energy and finish this up. And then I'll give you guys an update when I get to over there. But let me go ahead and get this done. Welcome back. As you can see, we have about 95% of our floor out. Me and a subscriber went half on this. They actually paid a little bit more than half. This was $426 after tax. We picked it up from AMD. That's Auto Metal Direct. I highly recommend if you are doing floor panels or any panel work, metal work, period. Go with AMD Direct. They're well known, made in the USA. Probably one of the top of the line sheet metal manufacturers. So yeah, we went through here. There's still some remnants of spot welds. You know, we're nowhere even close to putting our panel in. We still have, you know, I still have to get this metal off, and then from here all along there, and we discovered that there's actually a bend. By looking at this, that's how I found out. So the floor is going to get clamped to the firewall. So we have a lot of spot welds to do from the inside of the cab and also on the outside. Okay, before we put our sheet metal in, we are going to work on these torsion bars. They're pressed in right here. But down here there is a bracket that is tensioned with a bolt, and that controls your ride height. So you want to measure. We'll go in there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so your torsion bars come up right here to your K-member, and there's this lever. It holds tension with the bolt that is right there. So the bolt comes through, holds tension. It controls your ride height. You want to measure before taking it off. So you just measure here, maybe go to the bottom of the K-member. These were loosened already, so I'm not going to have an accurate measurement. This is what we're doing. Heat and some juice. Heat and juice, heat and juice. And of course we got the impact on there. Alright, that is pretty much it. We have that loose. We don't want to touch it, but that's taken care of. That is taken care of. We're going to go ahead over there. I'll do that off camera because you guys pretty much, you can see what's going on here. I'll get back to you. Okay, so we got our torsion bar loose on the passenger side. The tension bolt and the nut So this nut here and the tension bolt that is under there, that is broken loose. We got to do it on the other side still, but we are going to drop the K-member. And how you do that is you got to take the upper control arm off. And I went ahead and heated up these studs right here, and there's 2 nuts. Pretty much give it some heat and some juice if you need it, and then blow those nuts off, and then you just come from the underneath and pull up, and you can get it off. Now there's no bolt here or a bolt. There's no bolt here or here. We do have it jacked up because it was kind of sagging and I didn't want this thing falling. So we do got it supported. So we're getting there. We're pretty much gonna drop the K-member with the whole steering assembly, control arms, everything's gonna be in place. We will blow the shock off because that's just gonna have to come off. So yeah, go ahead and get this bolt off, pull that cap and bushing, and then get at these 4 bolts that will help us drop this side. Little update. We have gotten the entire floor out. Minus, I believe, yeah, right there at that support. There's a little bit of metal still here. I mean, with a chisel and a hammer, I could break through. There's really no spot welds to break through with the bit because of how rotted it is. We do have the subframe or K-member out. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. We discovered that there was only one mount. Let me get in here and give you a little closer look. Yeah, that body bushing blew right through that. Same over there. The front, I haven't gotten this off yet, but I mean it's toast. There's no using that again. That was the only one that was supported with a bolt. Obviously I left that bolt in, and all we had to do was remove our upper control arms, which were mounted like up in this area here. The upper control arm, like mounting surface, there's a plate that bolts here. The shock runs through it, and this torsion bar had the bracket has studs. Yeah, cut the brake lines, disconnected both upper control arms, and the last thing I had to do was the gearbox. Now, Mopar, there's a connecting collar right here. That is supposed to have a roll pin to disconnect the actual gearbox. For the life of me, I wire wheeled it, just could not find the roll pin anywhere. It's generally like down here, somewhere around that area. It kind of looks like it's a welded in unit. I mean, I still don't know how to remove it, but we went ahead and got the steering arm disconnected, and we were able to break this free. As far as the torsion bars go, they are pressed in, and all I really had to do was support the K-member with a jack, and then I just used my 40-pound sledgehammer and just kept tapping it and tapping it and tapping it, and we got that one to break loose, and then it broke loose here. And you could see the torsion bar is a hex style, and it literally just presses right in. We are gonna go in from the back and knock that one loose, and then end up hitting this one out. I don't really know how well that's gonna work, but floor is pretty much ready to go in, which is, by the way, right here. I have already mocked it up. I had it in place, which, I'm not gonna lie, is not easy. So I'll go a little in depth on how it goes in. Obviously, the firewall has this same bend, and the two come together. You literally just clamp it all the way to the firewall, and then you do your tack welds. Removing the old floor pan, this particular area was so bad. From about here, from here to here is kind of hidden back there. And what I ended up doing that lip to the old floor is still there. But, I mean, there was no way I was going to get these spot welds out. I would have to remove this bracket, which is spot welded to the body and the support. It was just so bad. So I just decided, you know what? We're just going to cut it flush. I still have to do a little bit of trimming, clean it up a little bit better, and then our new floor is just going to butt right up to it. Yeah, we'll have a 16 gauge steel, you know, in between the firewall and the floor, but it's not going to matter. And the back part of the floor actually goes underneath the rear floor pan. So we have to shove it forward as much as we can and then come down. I actually thought I had to remove these 2 rear front seat brackets, which is just 6 spot welds, but thankfully I didn't have to do that. So we mocked it in place, looked really good. We popped it out. A guy got a little excited. You can already see I've started blasting. We're going to hold on the blasting. We have to address that torsion bar though. Alright, we're going to attempt to pop this torsion bar out, the torsion bar cross member. There's a rubber bushing, but since it removes so easily over here, I'm assuming it's going to be the same deal. I just got a beefy punch, and then I'm going to swing this toe crusher. Oh, it's heavy. Yep. So I'm going to hold it, you know, try to center it, give it a tap and see what it does. Up, we got moving. It's moving. Alright. I need to position myself a little bit better. Oh, there it was. Alright. Now, obviously I'm standing in the middle of the car, and this is relatively easy compared to maybe some of the other guys that are on YouTube that are attempting this. If you don't have a lift, it's gonna be tough, because it is one hell of a job. Just the tension bolts alone are an absolute nightmare. You know, I put a impact on it, was not getting anywhere. Of course, I resorted to the breaker bar and, you know, like a fence pole to extend it, mainly my jack handle. That's what I use. Yeah, let's snag that boy out of there. I've been trying to keep the garage a little bit clean. Yeah. All right. Now, I've seen on other videos that they are stamped weird. We are going to remember the right side and left side and all that, you know. We'll sandblast them. This is basically a solid steel rod with ends that get pressed in. So there is absolutely no reason for us to have to replace it. Like I said, it's just a giant steel rod. Unless it's bent, which I don't think it is. Yeah, it's going to be perfect. We'll throw it down when we're sandblasting. We'll hit that. And but yeah, now we are pretty much at the point to where we can continue sandblasting. So stay tuned.